So one of the things that predators count on is a parent who thinks that loving their child is enough, right? Love, unfortunately, is not a training. We would never send a brand new police officer out into the street with a gun and a badge, with no academy, no field training, and no preparation. We wouldn't send a soldier into the front lines without some type of training under pressure. But if we're honest, that's kind of how we step off into parenting, right? I'm a father of four, and when I look back over the years, one of the things that hits me pretty hard is I winged a lot of it. Right? I love my kids deeply, but there were moments it was just on the job training, just learning in real time, reacting under stress, repeating things that I heard when I was growing up or even maybe on TV. And that matters when we start talking about protecting our children, because love alone doesn't teach us what grooming looks like. It doesn't teach us how predators test boundaries. It doesn't prepare you for the moment when your child comes home and says, he makes me feel uncomfortable, or I don't want to go over there anymore. Look, I spent over 15 years in law enforcement, and I worked crimes against children, and I sat in many child advocacy interviews. And one of the things that I learned is predators rarely start with something obvious. They start with access. They start with attention. They start with private conversations. They start with secrets. They start with gifts. They start making that child feel special, and slowly that child can be trained to ignore their own discomfort. And that's why we have to stop teaching our children to override their own discomfort to make adults feel comfortable. And we have to become the kind of parents that they can come to before something becomes a crisis. And that takes awareness, that takes conversations, and unfortunately it takes training. And that's why I started this page. That's why I started Before They Strike. Not to make parents paranoid, but to make parents aware. Because awareness makes people prepared, and our kids deserve prepared parents.